Okay, the last of our awards for tonight is the Bob Conroy Excellence in Trotting, and I'll ask Anne-Marie if she'll come up and say a few words. Not sure if Pat would like to come up as well. No, definite no, that's fine. I know not to argue. Once you get one shake, it's... I wonder if Mick Barbie's learnt that one yet. Probably not, but that's okay. The finalists for the Bob Conroy Excellence in Trotting is Bob Kuchenmeister, Dick Lee, Andy Gaff, John and Marie Caldo, Peter Finozio, Anne-Marie Conroy, Chris Angove, Chris Alford, Brent Lilly, Anthony Butt and Neville Pangrazio. And before we announce the winner, I'd just like to hear a few words from Anne-Marie. I sort of said the same thing to her as to Katrina, and I think sometimes from the heart is so much different. So I'll hand over to Anne-Marie Conroy and we'll be back with the winner very shortly.
Thanks, Paul. There's a lot of races that Dad won and a lot of premierships that he won. I know he targeted the VSTA trotting premiership and won it, I think, 15 times. Dad used to keep his own points and he had a pretty fair idea how he was going. So I'm interested. Brett Shipway was surprised that he won, I think, 3 awards, but did you really not know, Shippy, that you were leading up in those awards? Really? Yeah. Dad always knew. I guess the thing we missed the most about Dad was his liveliness, kindness and fun. Dad had a real spirit about him. Some people sort of go through their life and they're just going along, but Dad was very lively and he's very interested in people, lots of things, not only trotting but politics, racing, family, helping others, and he was really proud of never having had a suspension for an unacceptable drive or doing something that would bring harness racing into disrepute. He really hated drugs and he would admire other people with their horses, but if he found out that maybe that horse had a positive swab, that really disappointed him. He thought that was disgusting. So not just the fact that it was cheating, but the fact that you'd treat an animal like that. Dad had heaps of friends, and it's really nice that a lot of them are here tonight, and a lot of you people are close to our family, and we appreciate you being here. He'd always try to help anyone. I remember Dad sending a truckload of lucerne to Ian McCallum when Ian McCallum was going through some bad times, and Ian reciprocated years later. Dad had a broken hip and pelvis from a fall, and Ian McCallum had Dad made some special shoes to support his hip. So what I was going to say about Dad, it's sort of changed a little bit tonight from something that I learned. 2 things Dad told me were, don't take any crap from anyone, and if you think you're right, don't back down, stand your ground. So those things come back to him later on from me, because I don't think Dad expected that I would get arguing with him. But when our son Lincoln was a little boy, he was a real handful and he used to love being with Dad, and I was pretty keen to palm him off onto anyone I could so that I didn't have to look after him. So Dad was fun and I was exhausted, so often Lincoln would be with Dad, and I asked Lincoln last night, what are the things that you remember about Grandad? And he said, Grandad was heaps of fun. He said, Grandad taught me to drive a manual car when I was only a little fella, and he said he let me do a handbrake through the gate one night, and he said he used to let me do burnouts in the car and taught me how to burn safely. We often used to burn the trotting track, and I'm the secretary of the trotting track, so I had to learn to call the CFA and let them know that we're having a burn off, because sooner or later it'd get away from Dad and Lincoln and I'd have to call them anyway. So Lincoln told me a few things that Dad taught him to use a chainsaw, again, when he was very young, and that they knocked off our camping gas bottles out of the garage and set fire to them in the bushes. So sorry about that, Mum. I used to turn a blind eye to a lot of the things that Dad and Lincoln did, because Lincoln's very like my dad. They were absolutely fearless, and you couldn't tell either of them anything. So I used to just grit my teeth when they were doing these things and hope that it would be okay. So Dad decided that he'd teach Lincoln how to ride. So Lincoln was riding around on this 16-hand horse, and I remember one day Dad had him riding a stallion on the front lawn and didn't shut the gate. So the stallion took off out the gate and headed up the road, and Dad was off with his rather limpy legs off after Lincoln riding this stallion along the road, and then we taught Dad that it'd be a good idea to shut the gate. So that wasn't enough for Dad. He made his dust sheet of his jog cart stronger because he wanted to take Lincoln out sitting in the dust sheet of the cart. So they'd take a little picnic, and again I was tired and turned a blind eye to it for a while, so they'd drive miles out the bush and I just let them go and would say a prayer that they'd come home safely, which they did. Then one day I thought, no, this isn't safe, so I put my foot down, and Dad took it terribly hard that I wouldn't let Lincoln ride around in the dust sheet anymore, but he had told me, if you think you're right, never back down. So Dad was a terribly difficult person to argue with, but I wouldn't back down. So for those who don't know, my dad had an accident out the bush and got killed, which I have to live with. I suppose it sounds a bit bizarre that an 88-year-old man should be driving a young horse out the bush, but you couldn't stop him. Dad was a force of nature. So I only found out tonight. Chris Alford sent me a text and wished me well for tonight, and Chris is the winner of our Trotting Driver of the Year. But Chris sent me a photo of the National Harness Racing Trainers and Drivers Memorial, which it lists the people who lost their lives in the sport of harness racing. So I was unaware that Dad's name was on it, but Chris sent me a photo which shows that in 2017, Bob Conroy lost his life on the Wallaby track, Dalesford, in a training accident. And even when I was talking to Lincoln this morning, Lincoln still said to me, why did you stop me? Why did you stop me going out with Grandad? And I think it's self-evident why I did have to stop Lincoln, but that was Dad's spirit. Just, you know, he was having a go and he was living his life, and I think we can all sort of take something from that. You know, you can go through your life half asleep, or you can live it. So Dad lived his life and he died with his boots on. Thank you.
So Anne-Marie doesn't know the winner actually of the Bob Conroy Trotting Excellence Award for 2022 is in fact Anne-Marie Conroy.
Thank you, Paul. It's a great honour. I think the previous winners of the Bob Conroy Trotting Excellence Award are Pat Driscoll, Duncan McPherson, Chris Venozio. So I'm in great company. I was already in great company with the nominees tonight. And I'd like to share this award with my family. I've got my mum and my sister here, my brother-in-law and my husband Mick. And I work every day with my two brothers, and we've tried to continue on with what Dad was doing. Not nearly as well, but we're having a go. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Some good jobs about being an MC, that's for sure. So get a kiss before Mickey, so not going too bad. There's a few damp eyes over there too, so might ask the Conroy family to make their way over and we'll get some photos as well. But draws to a conclusion the night of awards. I would like to say well done to everyone who has won an award and everyone who hasn't. But I think to all the trotting people in this room, the trotting gate is flying. I love being able to watch it, enjoy it. Australia, New Zealand. We're going over the world now. I think it's great, and I think everyone in this room should take their hat off to themselves and say well done. We've got a major race about to start at Menangle. They're happening all the time. Once upon a time there'd be one race, they said, for a week with the trotters. So we've had one feature race in New South Wales and we're about to have a $100,000 race here as well. So draws to a conclusion tonight, but thank you to everyone that has been here. Congratulations to everyone that was nominated. May not have won, but being nominated is a major achievement in itself as well. So thank you very much, and please stay and enjoy each other's company, and we'll see you all again next year.